Okay, so let's just hear from a few examples that we have here, and the next speaker is really interesting, especially for the startup people here. I think most of the people have heard of Yplan. If you haven't, you'll hear now. But these are two guys from Lithuania who are doing this amazing startup in London, and it might be the next success case that we're gonna be using when we're boasting about Lithuania. So Viktoras from Yplan.
Hi guys, my name is Viktoras. First of all, I'd really love to thank Startup Lithuania for hosting me here. It's at the same time it's very humbling and very exciting to speak in front of Lithuanian audience. Today, I'd like to quickly talk about Yplan and what we've been building in London and how far we've got so far. Our vision of Yplan is basically to take over global entertainment industry. So entertainment industry is huge, however, it's not utilized. At the moment, the utilization rates are about 50%, meaning that a lot of seats in theaters, cinemas, other entertainment are empty or unutilized. There's no last-minute marketplace, and I really, share Roy's enthusiasm on mobile, on smartphones, and I think smartphones unlock opportunity to create marketplaces which were simply not possible before. In our case, it's basically allowing you to discover and book entertainment tickets at the very last second. So on customer side, it's very attractive proposition because you actually don't really need to plan in advance. You don't need to print any paper tickets. You don't need to call anyone to reserve your seats. From the event partner side, it's the one and only channel to sell tickets at the very last minute. On the customer side, we have an iPhone native app which looks like this. It's basically following, keep it simple, stupid principle. 2 clicks to book a ticket, and then you get it delivered to your phone, which you could add to Passbook. And the only thing you need to do afterwards is to show up at the venue, show the ticket, they let you in. At the moment, this is a slide basically which has some familiar names from Lithuania and maybe less familiar names from Europe. We are backed by top investors and closed our first round in July last year, which allowed us to grow the team from 2 of us to a team of 20 right now, and launch London in November last year. We are now at 150,000 downloads, which is pretty impressive for a mobile commerce app, which is not a social network or cat picture sharing app. Growth is driven mostly by virality. It's roughly in 8% of all London iPhones, so there's still a lot of room and space to grow. And this basically shows a few pictures of our team having fun together. I think I was asked by Vytautas to talk a little bit about the backstory of the whole thing. How did we start to do that? Which I think could be interesting for you guys if you are still kind of deciding, should you leave your job, do a startup, or should you do something on the side? I've met my co-founder Rytis back in college 10 years ago now, and I've been studying computer science, machine learning, artificial intelligence in Germany, and then left to London to work for investment bank. Rytis was working in growth capital firm, and after working 6 years in investment banking, we decided that maybe it's enough, and maybe there's something more interesting and more exciting to do with our time. So we just left. Got ourselves a huge whiteboard, put it in my living room, and basically we're going through all the verticals of the economy, like entertainment, like going out, like dining, like listening to music, and on the other dimension we had all the biggest trends, again following from Mary Meeker slides and the like, that being smartphones, mobile payments, and other big changes which are definitely happening in the world. And looking at the intersections, we would figure out, so what interesting problems are there? So let's say going out and smartphones. given that everyone will have a smartphone, in 2-3 years, what is there which could be done differently? How people consume entertainment, for example. So by going through that systematically, we basically came up with something like 50 ideas, and Yplan, I think, was idea number 51. We started testing it out early in January last year by building prototype websites, building prototype app. We ran that app for about 2 months with our kind of friends of friends, and got very, very positive feedback, which then led to investment and then very kind of quick growth. So right now, our plans for Yplan is basically expanding into other big cities. It only works in a densely populated area where smartphone penetration is high, and people can spend money on discretionary items. So the next stop for us would be New York and maybe 6-7 big cities in US next coming year. I think that probably summarizes it, and I would be very open for any questions from the audience. Say again? So,
how do you square against Eventbrite and similar offerings?
So the question was, how do we compare against Eventbrite? So Eventbrite is a website which allows you to post your own event, or something for a conference organizer to post, which allows them to, which does the ticketing for you. In our case, it's a bit different. We are working with existing, let's say, with theaters or music bands, and we allow them to sell the remainder of the tickets at the very last minute. So we're not coming in as a full stack ticketing solution. We're saying we're going to drive purely incremental revenue, and we know that's the case from our surveys. About 90% of the people who book, they claim that they haven't heard about an event before. So Eventbrite, you could see it more as kind of do-it-yourself ticketing platform. Yplan is more like there are all these extra seats, even though PR wants you believe that everything is sold out, but there are these extra seats, extra tickets available which perish, and Yplan allows to sell them to the audience.
So what's your pricing model?
So the business model on Yplan is basically we're taking a cut of every ticket sold, given that these tickets would go unsold otherwise because there's no extra channel. The margins could be in the range of 20 to 30%.
Is it a fixed price modeling, or is it a dynamic? For example.
So this is a very, very good question. The prices you see there is basically they are usually the same price as the event organizer advertises, purely for a couple of reasons. Like we usually have a small discount, which helps people to decide, or we usually have a small, perk or special. So like you come to the cinema, they give you a free glass of wine. That helps people to, incentivizes them to book. However, you cannot go secondary market route and increase these prices dynamically because there's a huge customer backlash, because they would start seeing you as scalpers rather than someone who's adding value and helping to discover things.
Do we have any? Oh, Roy?
So there's actually no beneficial price. It's actually the ticket price is pretty static compared to if you were buying well in advance.
Exactly. That's right. That's the right thing. It's pretty much what you would usually see if you went online and tried to buy. But in our case, you can't really go online. There's no these tickets anymore. Usually the process is that these tickets are being sent to you via mail or something like that, and they just go off sale up to from like 48 to 96 hours before the show starts.
People aren't waiting. People wouldn't wait and try and get a better price because that's not what it's about. It's about discovery.
It's about discovery, basically. So we're not targeting the super fans of Madonna, let's say. So if you like Madonna, you know that she's going to tour, Europe in 3 months. You would go and buy tickets in advance. However, I'm not a big fan of Madonna, and even if she's touring, I don't really care. But if I see it on Yplan that hey, Madonna is playing tonight, I'm like, yeah, maybe I would like to go out and Madonna is still a top class act. And by working with lots of promoters, we know that there would still be seats available there, and for them it's incremental revenue.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Over your journey, which is, I suppose, just beginning, what was, the number one thing that you've learned and that you can sort of tell the audience here? What was your most amazing experience that you learned a lot from?
So, number one thing is that, of course, it's not easy. I think what really helped us is effectively just being, persistent and going forward. I think the good thing about, running your own business as compared to working in banking is that you deal with different challenges every day, basically. So every day is different. The exciting bit about that is that, you get to choose who you work with. So every day is exciting because you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm going to work, and it's going to be all the people I just feel so great about working with. I think, the key thing for us, for example, launching it was that we were able to quickly iterate and quickly test many things till we stumbled on Yplan. I think in early stages that's probably most important. Just being quick, being agile, and being able to test things out quickly.
Any questions from the audience? I suppose everyone wants to know more, but probably they will come to you personally and ask you questions afterwards. So, okay, thank you, Viktoras.
Thanks very much.